You disappoint me, Daniel.
Oh, hi there, Smiley.
You actually like that movie called Transylvania 2?
Yeah, it wasn't that bad as far as an Adam Sandler movie goes.
Oh, sweet, stupid Daniel. Now I
Shing!
have to murder you.
What? Hey, Smiley, I'm sure we can work this out, man. There's no need for violence.
Now would you kindly walk into this kitchen knife?
No, I'm not doing that. Mm-mm.
Oh, come on! Help me stab you!
Yeah, I'll pass.
Well, then I guess you're just gonna have to watch Goosebumps.
Wait! Stab me! Stab me! Stab me!
Nope, too late. Enjoy the movie.
Bum 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 bum. Boom chick boom chick boom. Bum 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 bum. Boom chick boom chick boom. Hey everybody, I'm Daniel King, and this is Shit I Watched. And today, I watched Goosebumps. The movie starts off with a kid named Jack and his mom, and they're riding in a car. They're in this new town, Wayberry or Mayberry or something. I can't remember the name of the town, but they all moved. They moved to this town. Jack's dad just passed away, and they're having a change of scenery, as they call it. So they're from New York and they're moving to this small town. The movie starts out with them in their car driving to the house that they're getting ready to move into, and they're having banter, and they're going back and forth, and you can kind of tell that the kid doesn't want to move there, and the mom's kind of trying to convince him. They arrive at the house, and he looks at her and he's like, "Are you sure you want to move here?" She's like, "Yeah. Are you sure?" He goes, "Well, I looked into it, and I can't move out till I'm 18. Now, the kid they have playing Jack in this movie looks like he's 30. And I screamed at my TV, "Really? Move out of your fucking house, you're 30. And I swear to God, the guy that's playing Jack he could be a Heath Ledger lookalike. He looks just like Heath Ledger to me. I don't know what it is. It looked like Heath Ledger. So they go to their house. They start unpacking. The mom's sister drops by. The kid's aunt, who I will be referring to as Aunt because I don't remember the character's name. And they have just a little bit of talk here and there, and welcome to the neighborhood. And she has made Jack a rhinestone baseball cap, which is the ugliest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It's blue jean and rhinestones around in New York, and rhinestone on the top. And thank God they make him put it on, and I'm worried that we're going to wear this hat through the entire movie. But thank God he doesn't. He takes it off immediately as soon as he sees a girl next door. The girl next door's name is Hannah. He walks outside to take out the trash, and he sees her in the window, and she says something about his stupid looking hat, and he of course takes it off immediately. They have a little back and forth, a little conversation, and you can see there's kind of some chemistry there. Then he goes back inside, and that's the end of the scene. It shows later that night he's sitting up in his room by his bed, and he's watching a camcorder that shows him and his dad when he was, well, it couldn't have been that long ago, so I'm assuming his dad must have just passed, of them playing baseball. And it shows a moment of just to kind of basically showing that he misses his dad, and that's going to be important for the character because it's going to show growth later that he's able to let go. It's not the whole dad thing is kind of glossed over. It doesn't really come up anymore. In fact, there's a lot of scenes in this movie with side characters that seem out of place. Like there was a lot of deleting in the movie, and I'll get to that in a minute. So he's taught forgot. While he was talking to Hannah through the window, Jack Black shoots her away, peeks his head out the window, and says, "You see that fence? That fence right there? You stay on your side of the fence." And he's just being like weirdo Jack Black. All right, so the next day, he's at school, and you find out, this is on when they get to the school, you find out that the mom is the new vice principal at this high school. And of course, he doesn't want to go in with his mom because that would be embarrassing. So they again have some little bit of banter, a little bit back and forth, where she like messes around with the lock and won't let him out. She eventually does let him out. And I know I'm not doing this justice, but it's so not funny that I'm gonna skip over the actual dialogue and lines because they're not memorable. So he goes to school. They have a big assembly, and the mom is the new vice principal, and she makes a twerking joke, and nobody laughs, and it's horrible. And this is her son's like sitting in the bleacher. Everybody's there. It's in the gymnasium. They're all sitting in the bleachers. And this is when this kid Champ comes in, and that's his real name. His real name is Champ, and he's this weirdo kid that could be the Joker. I swear to God, he could be the Joker. His smile is like way up fucking here. Like if he grew up to play the Joker, it'd be perfect. It'd be perfect casting. And he's a weirdo, and of course, so there's your sidekick for the movie. Champ is going to stick around. Yeah, Champ is going to stick around for the entire movie. Champ walks through the bleachers, through a bunch of kids, and sits down right beside Jack, and he starts talking to him about, you're the new kid, blah blah blah. He gives him a card because that makes sense to have a high school to have a card with their name and address and everything. I guess this kid's really lonely. He says hey to a girl, and the girl says hey chump, and he's like, oh, it's Champ. Well, she's talked to me this time. Ha 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 ha. This character, the girl character, will come back later. And it's as stupid and pointless as you could imagine it to be. Like, it's another just glossed over character. Now, at the assembly, whenever the mom gets up and she does her twerking joke, the coach is the only one that claps for it and laughs. And that's kind of setting up that he's going to try to be like romantic with her or something, but they never do anything with it, and it becomes kind of weird. He almost kind of seems, because I think they cut some stuff out later on in the movie. He kind of just seems a little creepy and like a stalker. So the day ends. He goes home. He's taking out trash again, and there's a hole in the fence behind him, and Hannah pops out of it and spooks him. And they talk a little bit. They have a little bit of back and forth, and she goes, well, you want to go do something? And he's like, yeah, sure. They go to this abandoned carnival that's just like got vines and growing up everywhere. And there's like a fun house, and there's a Ferris wheel. It's completely abandoned, but for some reason, the electricity works. I don't understand that one. She climbs up the Ferris wheel, like you do. And he follows her, and they get into one of the high canopies, and they sit there, and so they have a little romantic moment, and they have a back and forth, and he says, how do we get down? She goes, you don't. He's like, oh no, seriously, how do we get down? Cut. In a scene. How the fuck did they get down? I want to know this. I want to know how they got down from the fucking canopy. So, it shows them heading back home, back to the hole in the fence, And he tells her, well, I take out the trash on these days if you want to come try and scare me again. He's like trying to mac on her a little bit. And then Jack Black shows up again, and he's all pissed off. I told you to stay away. I told you to stay away from my daughter. And he drags her back inside. Jake goes back into the house and goes up to his room. He looks out his window, and he sees shadows. And it looks like Jack Black is just like beating the crap out of his daughter. So naturally, Jack calls the police and he tells his mom. Then these two bumbling police show up. These are the worst police officers I've ever seen in my life. What is it about movies that they want to treat police like they're dumbasses? In kids' movies and in comedies. It's only like in dramas you actually see what cops could really be like. These guys are bumbling idiots. They're both deputies, and they never mention a sheriff at all. And as far as I know, these are the only two cops in the whole fucking town. One's a smartass, and the other one's a trainee who wanted to pull her gun out on, and she wants to shoot somebody. She is ready. She is ready to go. So the police knock on the door. Jack is with them for some reason. That doesn't happen in real life. The police just go and investigate domestic disturbances. They don't like have the neighbors come and check with them. That was stupid. But Jack is there, and Jack Black says, my daughter's fine, blah, blah, blah. Daughter never comes to the door. He literally says, my daughter's fine. There's nothing going on. And the male deputy goes, oh, good enough for me. Time to go. And then they hear screaming. So the deputy's like, okay, we got to go inside. They walk inside and they see it's a movie that he's playing. So that's what he says. Like, I was watching a movie. That's what you heard. And that's, stuff that it could happen in real life. So, it's kind of believable. So they leave. And as they're leaving, Jack tries to find Hannah, and Jack Black and the deputies end up kicking him out of the house. He gets kicked out of the house, and the deputies, he goes and talks to the deputies. He's like, there is something going on here. I'm telling you, there is some bad stuff here. I saw it with my own eyes. Then he walks away. Of course, the female deputy looks over at Jack's mother and goes, well, he's on drugs. And then the male deputy goes, yeah, he's on drugs. He's definitely on drugs. And the mom's like, what? So it cuts to him in the bushes, and then Champ showing up in a suit. And Champ's like, hey, where are the women? And Jack's like, no, there's really no women. I just called you over here because I want your help. Number one, why? Number one, they cut the fucking scene. Why did they cut that scene out? And it's a little jarring. They have to explain what's going on because it just cuts to him in the bushes. Two, why did you need his help? What did you need his help with? Because this guy's a complete coward. Jack does everything. He's the everyman in this movie. So they walk around to the back of the house. Champ agrees to help him for some reason. They walk around to the back of the house, and Jack actually picks the lock to the basement. And he says he leaves Champ outside as a lookout. So he starts walking downstairs, and he sees all these bear traps. And then there's a jump scare. He looks behind him. Champ's behind him. And Champ's like, I told you to be a lookout. In order for you to do that, you have to be out looking, which is the best use of that joke. And Champ says, like, no, I'm coming with you. So he goes with him. They go into the house. They start looking around. They see a bookshelf with a bunch of manuscripts. And Champ starts reading the titles. It's like The Abominable Snowman and Monster Blood, and he's like, man, these aren't just manuscripts. These are Goosebumps books. He's like, why would he have manuscripts of Goosebumps books? And Jake's not impressed. He's like, yeah, man, those are for kids, right? And Champ has this line where he goes, "You know, stories for kids put you to sleep. These books keep you awake." No, they didn't. I read Goosebumps. I was actually a huge fan of Goosebumps when I was in elementary school. But then I read other things like Stephen King and Dean Koontz and Michael Crichton. Those are some scary shit right there, okay? R.L. Stine is really, really dumbed down and really is for children. There's no scares in it, even though on the front of the book it would say, reader beware, you're in for a scare. Which they actually even they had a show for Goosebumps. They had that in the show after the beginning the beginning intro where it said, viewer beware, you're in for a scare. And it's not. It's entertaining. I'll say it's entertaining, and it's really good storytelling, but it's not scary. So now they figure out that Jack Black is R.L. Stine. Hannah comes in the room, and he's got a book in his hand, and he drops it on, and all these books are locked, and he's got the key, and he unlocks it for some reason. And when Hannah comes in, he scares him, and she drops the book on the floor. And she's like, "Oh, you see a book? Did you touch any of the books? You can't touch the books." And he goes, "Oh, sorry." And he goes to pick it up, and he opens it because he's a clumsy fucking klutz, and out pops the Abominable Snowman. They have a little fight with the Abominable Snowman where he's like tearing up the house, and he jumps through the house, and he runs off. Hannah runs off after him. And the other book that Champ was holding, we'll find out what that book is later. He just throws it on the floor, but he's holding a book and he throws it on the floor. They run after the Abominable Snowman. They meet up with him at a skating rink, and he's trying to get them, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of a cool actiony scene. Him coming out of the book was a really good effect too. It's like the letters melted into ink, and then he kind of swirled, and he pops out of it. It turns into the Abominable Snowman when he comes out of the book. It's kind of a nice effect. Now they're getting ready to get killed by the Abominable Snowman, and he's trying to take the final swing. All of a sudden, his torso goes away, and what the hell? And then it shows behind that Jack Black he's holding the book open. He's like, I gotta get. And there's light coming out of it, and it's like sucking him back into the book. And so Abominable Snowman gets sucked back into the book. And on the ride back, they start having a discussion with him about him being R.L. Stine. And, of course, he denies it at first. So Jack hits his ego and says, Stephen King's better than you and all this. And then then R.L. Stine says, no, Stephen King's a hack. I'm a far better writer. And to that I say, fuck you, Jack Black. Stephen King is way better. Way better. So they get back to the house, and they see that Slappy the dummy is sitting in one of the chairs. The other book that Champ had that he threw on the floor that popped open was Night of the Living Dummy. Slappy is also voiced by Jack Black in this movie, and he sounds like Mark Hamill. It sounds like Jack Black is doing a Joker impression. It really does. It sounds like Jack Black listened to Mark Hamill's Joker and is like, I can do that. I can do it. And I can do it too, motherfucker. So they get into a squabble, and Jack Black tries to trick him into going back into the book. Slappy figures out what he's doing, and Slappy has these magical lightning and power outage powers that it seems like flashes of light, lightning will flash, and the power will flash for a second, and he'll disappear, and that seems to be like one of his key powers. That's a weird power to have. So he gets away, and the first book he opens is the haunted car, so he can have a car to drive around in, I guess. Then he just starts pops open another book, and the book he pops open is Revenge of the Garden Gnomes, and he throws the book out the window. He set his book on fire when he was back in the house before he came outside. He set his book on fire so he can't be sent back. Whenever he opened the haunted car, set that book on fire. Now these books are incredibly flammable. Like it seems like they're doused in gasoline or something. He just throws a match and lights the Garden Gnome book on fire as well. The Garden Gnome scene is pretty good, but it feels like something out of Gremlins. But it was fun. I kind of enjoyed it. They're all in R.L. Stein's kitchen. These gremlins start popping out, and the effect is pretty cool because they're ceramic, and when they move, like, it cracks and crinkles and shit. And that was cool. I like that. And Jack has this line of, "Oh, maybe they're friendly." Oh, okay, maybe not. One of them threw a knife at his head. So they start fighting these gnomes, and oh my god, it's brutal. One gnome gets shoved into a garbage disposal. They throw a bunch of gnomes into the oven. Eventually, they've got them all broken up, but they start rebuilding themselves. The garden gnomes do. They start rebuilding themselves back up again. So they run away. Okay, so as they're driving around, it cuts to a scene of Slappy just like taking books, opening all the books up, and then lighting them on fire and supposedly letting out all these monsters. The next monster you run into is while they're driving around is the giant mantis from I don't know the titles of these books. I can't even remember anymore. But you could recognize it because they show the actual titles of the Goosebumps books, the monsters that are in the books, at the end of the movie. Which I understand Slappy, but why wouldn't you have the Haunted Mask? Like, the Haunted Mask was one of the more popular ones. Why not have the Headless Ghost from the Haunted Mansion? That was a very popular one. No, none of these. They had none of these in there. They had a bunch of ones that were like from his like really earlier books that are really honestly before my time. So they run into the giant mantis. And they have a chase scene in the car. They pull up to a supermarket where they escape from the car. The mantis comes up and completely destroys the car, and they go and hide in the supermarket. Now, in the supermarket is the werewolf from Foggy Swamp or something, I think was the name of it. It's this werewolf in like basketball shorts and some torn up Converses. They see the werewolf and they go hide. And R.L. Stein's like, they can smell me. So he starts spraying Axe all over him. It's some kind of body spray. It looked like Axe. He's like, oh, it's not working. So he goes and hides. He's hiding under like a produce counter. In the meantime, the rest of them are hiding behind this shelf with meat on it. Now, this one was weird to me because I work in retail, and I know good and well that you don't put fish and turkey and steak on a shelf that has pegs where they like hang stuff, and it's not refrigerated. Who's gonna buy that? That would be insane. That's asking for salmonella. I'm looking at this, I'm enraged. And it wouldn't even matter if they actually use this. Like, he grabs one of the turkey legs off the peg in the middle of the grocery store. Not even in the fucking cooler. Grab it off of a peg. It's just on this like islander thing, and throws it at because the werewolf has got the scent of Jack Black. He wants to distract him, so he throws the turkey leg at the werewolf, and the werewolf goes and runs for it. Now, of course, they have this chase scene inside the grocery store. Shenanigans ensue. Jack Black's in a buggy, blah, 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 blah. They escape. So they're like, okay, what do we got to do? How do we stop this? He burned all the books. Jack Black goes, okay, what we've got to do is I've got to write another story. So Jack tells R.L. Stine, okay, well here it is. All the monsters get sucked back into the book world. The end. He goes, no, it can't happen like that. I have to write a full book. There has to be a narrative, has to be a hero and a twist and blah 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 blah. And you're like, okay, well, fine. What do we have to do? Well, we have to write. He's like, I have to write on my typewriter, my special typewriter. So where's the typewriter? It's at the high school. Now, at the high school, they're having a dance right now, which is why Champ actually showed up with Jake, because he thought that there was going to be some girls and they were going to go to this dance. Everybody's at this dance. Everybody apparently in this town is at this dance for some reason. So they get to the high school. They look around. And there's a moment with Hannah and Jack where they're about to have a moment. They're about to have a kiss. And then the moonlight shines on her. And she goes all glittery. And he realizes that she's not real. That's right. This grown-ass man invented a 16-year-old girl. Now, in kid terms, maybe that's fine. Maybe, adolescents be like, oh, man, he's so lonely. He uses that excuse. Oh, he's so lonely. But I'm a fucking adult. And I'm looking at that like, that is fucking creepy. What are you doing? What are you doing, movie? Adults are going to watch this movie, and they're going to look at that like, you're insane. This adult fucking man imagined a girl and she came to life? What? And he imagined a daughter. He wrote a daughter and made her come to life. What? It's creepy. So Jack confronts Jack Black about it, and Jack Black, tells, when he tells, oh, I was lonely and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, she doesn't know, does she? He's like, no, she doesn't know. So they move on. They go to find the typewriter, and they're like, okay, I need a place quiet to go and to write this story. So he goes to the theater, and of course, up on the theater, up on the stage is there. Apparently, they were doing a play of The Shining, because it says The Shining across it. He has this look on his face like, God damn it, for real? Really? Seriously? Yes, R.L. Stine is not as good as Stephen King. He's not. I'm sorry. He sits down on the stage, on the table, to do his typing. Now, in the meantime, Slappy has released all the monsters, and he's put all the books in a spiral for some reason and lit them all on fire. And then all the monsters are there at the high school. So they're like, okay, we got to warn everybody. We got to warn everybody at the dance. So everybody's in the gymnasium. Champ runs up on the stage and tries to get everybody's attention, but he wimps out. Jack runs up there to give him moral support, I guess. I don't know. And Champ's like, here, and hands him the microphone. He's like, you tell him. So Jack tells him that there's monsters outside, and they all came from R.L. Stine, and R.L. Stine's going to send them back to the book world. And they all think he's nuts, because that sounds pretty nuts. Then there's a scene where what I thought was a child was one of the high school kids. I later find out that he's a teacher at the high school. He's looking out one of the windows at the top of the gymnasium. He goes, oh my God, it's the boogeyman, and he's picking his nose. And everybody laughs. And it's like, and Jake goes, no, I'm for real. I'm telling you the truth. It cuts back to him. And he goes, oh my God, there's a giant menace outside, and it's eating all our cars. And someone screams, it's not funny anymore, dude. Then the mantis breaks through the window, grabs this teacher, and yanks him out. And everybody's freaking out, of course. So now everybody knows that there are monsters there. So they got to devise a plan of how they're going to get out. Cut back to R.L. Stine. He's typing his book away, and then Slappy shows up and uses his magic power outage powers to at one moment he's out in the theater. The next moment he's standing on the table in front of R.L. Stein, and R.L. Stein's typewriter is in a suitcase type thing. So he's typing in it, and Slappy knocks the flap down, steps on it, breaks R.L. Stein's finger, supposedly. Now, if I had gotten all of my fingers broken, I would be in a tremendous amount of pain. He acted like he got a bruise. Ah, my hands! Oh, I hurt them! You broke my fingers! Good acting, Jack Black. So, he can't finish the book now because Slappy broke his fingers. Slappy disappears, shows up back outside, gives a rousing speech to all the monsters outside. So they're like, okay, what are we gonna do? Jake comes up with an idea. Let's get everybody up on a school bus, and we'll drive out of here. And R.L. Stein's like, that's not gonna work. We got to come up with a better plan than that because they're going to attack the bus. And Jake looks over at a chemical storage bin, and it's got the explosive symbol on it. He's like, idea. They cut to bus driving away, immediately gets attacked, gets flipped over. Then it shows the inside of the bus, and it's just a mannequin in there, and there's like an explosive tank inside of it. And then it cuts to the actual bus with them trying to drive away. When the monsters try to open the door to the decoy bus, it sets off the bomb. He made a bomb, and the bus blows up, and all of them blow up. Doesn't matter because they're made out of ink. They all reform again. So they're driving. They're getting away on the bus. Jack Black is driving for some reason, and his hands are broken. And so they're like, okay, what are we going to do? All right, so they decide to go to the fun house of all places, the fun house. And while they're doing this, Jack Black, R.L. Stein is trying to get Jack to finish the novel for him, so he's typing it and everything. They arrive at the carnival. In the first place, they're like, oh, let's go into the fun house, and we'll finish it there. And Champ has the best line. There's tables over there. Why don't we just go over there and finish the fucking thing? No, we're going to go into the fun house. We're going to have a little Slappy thing. They do like a mirror thing where it's like Slappy's face is on one side and R.L. Stein's face is on the other, saying that they're like kind of the same person. And then Slappy pulls out a book and says, I was saving this book for you. Jack and Hannah run away, and Slappy pops open the book, and it's the blob who ate everyone. And in the worst effect I've ever seen, the CG for this blob was so terrible. Oh my God, it looked bad. I haven't mentioned that. The CG in this movie is so bad. The mantis looks horrible. The werewolf, what was funny for me is you can tell it's mocap because the movement seemed right. It was just a cartoon. Forgot to mention, whenever they were at the grocery store, the ant actually saves their life by hitting the werewolf and knocking him into a trash can. And the ant and R.L. Stein have a little meet cute. There. That's all you need to know about that. And while they were at the high school, the coach and the vice principal had a little moment where it wasn't really a moment. She's looking out the window. It's like, we're going to make... Oh my God, it worked. And then he leans over and she's like, yeah, we're going to get through this. And she goes, not now. And he has no more scenes in the movie. That's it for him. Bye, coach. All right, back to the carnival. Hannah and Jake, of course, run up the goddamn Ferris wheel for some reason, and Champ, and they're all sitting up there on top of the Ferris wheel. Jack Black is caught up in the blob, and he's having a little talk with Slappy. Jake is up there. He's typing away, and he's finishing the novel, and he finishes it. And then the Mantis runs in, knocks the Ferris wheel off of the thing, and they do this. They're doing this in so many movies now, where the Ferris wheel just rolls down a hill, and they live. And I'm looking at that like that doesn't make any sense. Like each one of these canopies are hitting the ground every time it rolls. One is hitting the ground every time it rolls. It actually shows that in the movie. So there's no way that the canopy they're in would stay upright and they wouldn't be dead. It doesn't work like that. So it rolls down the hill, comes to a stop, and Jake he's got the novel finished, and they get out, and Champ is like, "Yeah, you gotta finish it, man. You gotta open the book." And he goes, "And yeah, when you open the book, all the monsters are gonna go away." And then he has a thought like, "Oh, when I open the book, all the monsters are gonna go away," meaning that Hannah's going to disappear. Hannah's not a monster. That doesn't make any sense. Hannah's not a... Why would she disappear? Why is Hannah a monster? Okay, she's a figment of his imagination. He didn't say all of R.L. Stein's imagination, figments of his imagination are going to... She sucked in the book. He said all the monsters. She's not a monster. So he goes and talks to her, and he's like, "I can't open the book. I can't do it." She's like, "Why can't you?" She's like, "Because if I do, then..." And she finishes the sentence, "All the monsters will be sucked into the book." She's like, "You got to open it." What? She forces it open, and everybody gets sucked in, and he tries to hold her while all these things are getting sucked in, and it's a scene taken straight the fuck out of Jumanji. They do Jumanji. So he's holding her, and he can't hold on to her anymore, and everything gets sucked into the book. Sad. So that Slappy, of course, is sucked in. Everybody's sucked in, and the scene ends. It cuts back to him and his mom having banter in their car again, and she's like, "You want me to give you a 60-second head start?" Because that was what they were talking about before. Because he didn't want to his life ruined on his first day of high school. She's like, "Nah, we'll go in together," and she does the lock thing again, and it was stupid. He runs into R.L. Stein at the high school, and apparently R.L. Stein is filling in as a teacher now for the English class, and then it shows that the guy who got attacked by the mantis is sitting over there, and he was the old English teacher, and he's just sitting there in like a cast or whatever. That motherfucker should be dead, but whatever. R.L. Stein and Jack Black show us what's important about writing a story. The middle, the end, and the fucking twist. So Jack Black finishes his class. He's talking to Jack about, "Oh, I'm sorry, she's gone. She'll always be there, and she'll be here, and she'll be in here. And oh, and she's over there. And Hannah's back. I guess he wrote her back into existence." How the fuck is this relationship going to work? She doesn't really exist. And it shows Jack Black in the background lighting the book on fire. Okay, whatever. So very important. Earlier in the movie, while they were driving around, before they ran into the mantis, they apparently ran into the invisible boy, who somehow they didn't run over when they were driving in their car. I don't know. The very last scene is Jack Black walking past his typewriter, and it's back in the case where it was before, back in the glass case. And he sees that the buttons are typing. So he walks over to see what's going on. And it says, "The Revenge of the Invisible Boy" on it. And he goes, "I sent all the monsters back." And the Invisible Boy says, "Except for me." And that doesn't make any fucking sense. Because the book said, all the monsters get sent back to this book world. If Hannah's considered a monster, then the Invisible Boy is considered a fucking monster. Okay. And during the credits, they show like the book covers, and it's actually pretty cool. Now, would I recommend this movie? I mean, kids will probably enjoy it. As me as an adult, and I grew up around the books, I didn't really have as much nostalgia as I thought I would, because the only character I recognized was Slappy. And he doesn't show up till like halfway through the movie. The filmography looks like a television show, a lot of shots. They're really weird. They don't look right. I wouldn't see this movie again. Maybe if I were drunk, I'd watch it again. I'll watch anything drunk. But it's not a high recommendation on I just can't. I can't highly recommend it. If you want to, watch it, but I don't. All right. That's my word. Peace. I'm out.